Today we're going to do a realistic garden tour. I'm going to show you what we got growing here in the early July. And as the month moves on, that will probably change. By the end of July, we'll have more vegetables harvested. And I hope this inspires you, and I hope you're enjoying your 4th of July holiday weekend. This is the front of the house. Let's take a look at the flower garden in the front here. So the daisies are still in bloom. There were more than this, and I took them down because they were too tall and hanging over, and some had died. And I went through and I deadheaded the daisies. The black-eyed Susans are to the side here and to the front, so they had space to get enough sun. But evidently, the purple cone flowers did not get enough sun. So I need to work on that for next year because I love those purple cone flowers. I have some in the back, but I love having them in the front. I like a variety of different colors. And here we just have basically white and yellow flowers. But back there we do have our new addition, Asian lily. And then we have an artificial sunflower that I purchased last year or the year before. I think it came from Bed Bath & Beyond. I just put that out for the 4th of July. I'm late on decorating. I haven't put any flags out yet. But this garden is looking okay. It's starting to perk things up here. I think that I like the traditional look of a garden pretty much, especially when it's right next to the house. We'll let that plane go by. We're too close to the airport here. I like to see the taller flowers in the back by the house and then the shorter flowers in the front. That's why I try to keep these daisies trimmed down. They got taller than what I expected. Morning glories on the back fence line are opening up. And they'll only stay opened up for a little while. And then as the sun penetrates, glares down on them, they will close up probably by mid-morning. When I first planted these morning glory seeds several years ago, they were blue, which is my favorite color, morning glory, but it has changed. I don't know, the soil condition. You just can't keep it blue unless you replant a new crop. I'm sure there's a way to keep it blue, but it's very scientific, beyond me. But I have a lot of trimming to do on the fence line, and this is something you can do on a daily basis or every other day. And they are working their magic and opening up, and they're just wonderful to see. The hosta that's been here for 30 years or more is growing flowers. The flowers are in bloom. Personally, the plant looks better than the flower. When it comes to hostas, I believe the plant is more attractive. Let me know if you like the flower, if you think the flower's prettier than the plant, or is the plant prettier and cooler looking. There's a bee on one of the flowers. So that's proof right there that bees do go onto the hosta flowers. There's not too much going on in the cottage garden right now. Hopefully the purple sage will make a comeback. It is definitely the centerpiece of this garden next to the lavender. And they both attract pollinators during the growing season. All right, the tomatoes over here are doing really well. This is a Better Boy. And the tomatoes are coming along fine. We don't have any problem with this. And the same with the Bigger Boy. And here we have a celebrity tomato plant in stress. I don't know if the fish oil will help or not. but it did grow a couple little tomatoes. So, oh, it's got 3 tomatoes. Okay, it is growing tomatoes, so I don't know. It's still alive. It just looks pathetic. It can stay small or not. If we do take it back, I don't want to put another tomato plant there. And I'll tell you why. There will be an issue of overcrowding. When you have a small space, this happens. This happens. Let's go over here and I'll show you why. Okay? Now, one thing, we do have cucumbers, but they work well with tomatoes. And I just, and they're on the fence line. Now, sometimes they go onto the tomato plant, on the stems of the tomato plant, and I just put them back on the fence line. So that's not really a problem. Right here, we have a plant that I bought by mistake that I'm hoping will take off, especially in this hot weather with all this hot sun coming through. Watermelon, and it's doing wonderful. There's 2 plants here. We'll see which one does the best. There's one going over this way. And I could do some clearing, and believe it or not, I could take that vine all the way through here, wherever it goes, and a watermelon could be produced. It may not be a real big one. I've grown them before. It's been a number of years. It was a really small one. I gave it to my young neighbor. He's only 9 years old. I gave it to him. We have another plant right here, and this will go on the fence line. If it goes on the fence line and it reaches a substantial size and weight, we will need to use a sling. Well, if that happens, look, and we have that another tomato plant that's real big, that's going to be a problem. So I don't think I'm going to replace that. If it continues to produce tomatoes, we'll leave it. If it doesn't, we'll take it out of there. Here's the broccoli. And I believe it's ready to harvest because I see some yellow on it. So it's going to seed. So we'll probably be harvesting that within a day or 2. Potatoes, the yellow potatoes are doing fine. I can't wait for the harvest. I'm so excited. If you're growing potatoes, let me know. I think they're the most exciting thing to harvest. I love digging. Maybe I'm a weirdo, but I enjoy the process of digging and uncovering something from the ground. I just find it fascinating. And the potato harvest will be amazing. I just know it will. And here's one right here, and it's a pretty good size one. You can see it. I hope it grows flowers because that would be pretty, but if it doesn't, that's okay. When the leaves turn yellow up here, then we're going to know it's time for the harvest. It's usually around the 15th of July. Now we'll talk about the cabbages. We harvested 2 cabbages last night. I'll show you that footage. Our cabbage garden, we have several cabbages here. There's even one right by the rhubarb, and it's got a hard head too. If the heads are hard, really hard, this one's not as hard as the others, and that one needs to develop fuller. And if they're pulling back like this and they're hard, it's time to harvest. And I can see right now these 2 right here are ready to harvest. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest those. We'll see. And I read that you just cut the heads off and you leave the cabbages in the ground, the cabbage leaves. Here are the 2 cabbages that we harvested. We'll be eating these. We'll be cleaning them up and eating them over the next week or 2. Then I'm going to take these cabbages inside the house and put them in the refrigerator. I planted some carrots by seed, and they're doing just fine. They're doing just fine. I'm going to let them do their thing. It'll be a long time before we have the harvest. The carrots are different colors. Different colored carrots are going to be beautiful. Here we have Roma tomatoes. There's a couple through here that are Roma tomatoes instead of cherry tomatoes that I grew by seed. I did starter plants. So one of these is a starter plant. They're like grouped together here, and I should separate them. But you separate them now. I could transplant them, but not in the full sun, of course. So I'm just going to let them take off and see what they do. Transplanting can be detrimental. You've got to be real careful. You're going to transplant, do it early on. And I didn't do it. And at first they weren't coming up, and now they are. I think that's a Roma. It looks a lot like this one. It could be a cherry tomato reseeder. My guess is it's a Roma because I did plant some seeds through here along with some pepper seeds, which are coming up. This is a pepper seed. Now some I bought by plants as fill-ins, just in case they didn't come up by seed. So that's a good thing to do, especially if you just get them real small. And try to plant them early, because I planted my peppers kind of late and they're not well established yet and they're not blooming anything yet. Hopefully that will change. That they do like hot weather. The zucchini, which is just now taken off, zucchini and squash, but this is the zucchini and squash garden. I'll be showing you more of that probably mid-July. I'll probably do a before and after. In one of my videos, I cooked some sweet potatoes. That was a sweet potato from last fall that was harvested and 9 months old, and it produced slips that I put into jars, and I'll try to send you a picture of that if I didn't delete it. When I go to clean my storage out, sometimes I delete videos I really want to keep. But I'll show you I finally planted them yesterday morning, very early, and I want to show you what they look like and how they're doing. And here's the sweet potato slips that I planted in the ground yesterday morning, and they seem to be doing very well. I watered them twice since then. I watered them about 7:45 in the morning before the sun glared over here, and they look great. I think they're going to do fine. I'm hoping they'll produce something before frost. I imagine they'll produce a little something. I don't care if it's a tiny little sweet potato. I'm just excited because I've never done this before. If you do this on a regular basis or you've done it before, let me know. Like at the end of after you harvest it, or in the winter and you have some sweet potatoes left, you put your sweet potato in a jar of water to grow slips that turn into vines. This sweet potato that I grew was a plant from local nursery, but I want to create generations of sweet potatoes. So this will be the generational garden, I guess you call it. And maybe next year I won't even buy any newbies. I won't buy any new plants. I might just do this. If this works, that will be the determination. I will be determined just to use the potatoes that I harvest for growing in the garden. I believe it's around 9:30 a.m. July 3rd, and it is extremely hot here in Columbus, Ohio. The weather has taken a turn for the better, I hope, for some plants that really like hot weather, especially for that watermelon. Well, at least I can create the scenery that looks like the country if I can't live in the country. If you live in the country, let me know. If you live in the city, let me know. Wherever you're at, you can grow a garden. And it's not too late. You can grow green beans, you can grow cucumbers, you could buy some plants and just put them in the ground. Broccoli, you can plant broccoli by the end of July, and it will come up for a fall crop. So any questions you have, just go ahead and ask me, and I'll try to answer it. I'm not in this to monetize. I want to clarify that. If I monetize one day, it will be nice, give the money to my grandkids or something, or put them to work on the property and they can help me with some projects that I can pay them. Or maybe I'll have a contest and give it back to you. I mean, who knows? I never went into this to monetize. I went into this to improve my self-esteem, to improve my speech. So if I talk a lot, that's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to talk. I'm trying to improve my speech, and I know quite a bit about gardening. I'm not an expert, but I know quite a bit, and what I don't know, I can find out. I don't pronounce those big terms. You're going to hear layman terms from me, but I can spell it out for you and put it on the screen. The actual name of the plant or flower. Have a happy 4th of July. I didn't dress up for the 4th of July. I didn't put out any flags yet, but it is tomorrow. Happy centennial, 250 years of freedom from England. And I am like 42% British, and I'm proud to be an American. And that's what it's all about. Yeah. We are a free country. We can express ourselves, that's for sure. Some people express themselves too much. I try not to. I have more to say about YouTube and my thoughts about YouTube and their algorithm. We'll talk about that another time. Thanks for watching today. God bless each and every one of you. I'll see you on the next one.